2023 has come and gone, so let's start talking about our predictions for 2024. The last year was really good for new releases, and if you want to check out our top picks from 2023, then make sure you check out our video on that. But we're here to talk about what we're seeing for the future. And so we're going to start out with IWC. Now, IWC normally will focus on one full collection every year, and in the last few years, we've seen big updates to the pilots, to the Portuguesers, and of course the Ingenieur last year, which came back in its Gerald Genta format. But one line that hasn't really gotten this full treatment is the Aquatimer. True, last year we saw some interesting variants with the Aquaman themed one, and we've seen a few cool complications here and there, but the core basic Aquatimer hasn't really been updated in a long time. So it's definitely due for an update, and something that would be really great is if they could bring back that GST Aquatimer. So these were released in the late 90s and early 2000s. They came as a follow-up to IWC's collaboration with Porsche Design, and they were IWC at their best, extremely over-engineered. This particular one was able to go down to 2,000 meters. It had a titanium bracelet, titanium case, a very satisfying bezel action with two different types of knurling, so it's even easier to grip. Every little detail of this watch was over-engineered to the fullest. When you compare it to the equivalent Submariner of the time, if you think this would have been the 5-digit ones with only 300 meters of water resistance and those jangly bracelets, this was so far above and beyond what was available from Rolex or even Omega, Tag Heuer, from any of its contemporaries. This would be the perfect opportunity for them to capitalize on a little bit of nautical popularity thanks to their featuring in Aquaman, as well as reminding everyone that they make a killer dive watch. Next, we have Patek Philippe. Now, last year was filled with a lot of interesting Calatrava variants, of course the customary high complications, but let's face it, most people online are looking to see what's going to happen with the Nautilus. In 2022, the 5711 was discontinued and replaced in late 2022 with the 5811. But at the same time, we haven't seen a new variation on the 5811 since it was released. So my guess is they're going to start phasing out more 5711 based models and start phasing in 5811 based models. So I think a great option to start would be with their annual calendar. The 5726 is still currently in the collection, but my guess is that they would take it out of the collection and replace it with a 5826. So still the annual calendar, but probably even in white gold just to start out so that they can still keep those values high, keep the exclusivity high, and maybe get away from the hype a little bit. I think Patek Philippe is well aware that if they release a steel variant of any type of Nautilus, it'll sell like crazy, so they know they can sell it at white gold prices without any issues. And that's where I think they can really capitalize. They can introduce that slightly more vivid blue dial, and they can highlight one of Patek's signature complications, which is of course the annual calendar. So now let's go a little bit more on the affordable side and Tudor. Tudor last year quite quietly discontinued the Heritage Chrono. Last year they also introduced for only watch an in-house Kunisi-based movement with an in-house chronograph. Now this one, the design was inspired by their old Tudor big blocks. It had the arrangement of 12, 6, and 9 with the subdials, mimicking what would have been a 7750 back in the day, and they released it all in gold. So we're predicting that this year, they'll discontinue the Black Bay Chrono and maybe even introduce a new Heritage Chrono line. The chronographs have never sold as much as the regular divers when it comes to Tudor, so this could be a great opportunity for them to push an in-house caliber and really drive up their chronograph sales with something that isn't derivative necessarily of the Daytona. They can keep shaping their own story with their heritage design and now with an in-house chronograph so they don't have to rely on Breitling to get the B01. Speaking of Breitling, of course, while not an official participant in Watches and Wonders, always has a little bit of a habit of releasing something the day before Watches and Wonders starts. So our prediction is that Breitling will introduce something right before Watches and Wonders, and one great addition to the collection would be if they expanded the Premier line to include a worldtimer. The Datura Breitling Premier got a lot of comparisons to older vintage Patek Philippe's, and this would be another way that Breitling can associate the Premier line with a Patek Philippe inspired design, but most likely picking from their own historical archives as they always have done in the past. It's important to remember that the Datura was also inspired by one of their own older models that just happened to be from the time that Patek Philippe generally picks its designs from. So our prediction for Breitling is that they release a Breitling Premier with a worldtimer in it. A great addition to the Premier line, and still keeping an air of sophistication about it, much in the same way that they've done with their hand-wound chronographs or their split-second chronographs as well. Now you're probably wondering where Rolex is in this. Well, because Rolex is a different beast all to itself, we've decided to do a separate video just focusing on our Rolex predictions, and that'll come out in the next few weeks, so keep an eye out for that. But let us know which of these predictions was your favorite and what do you want to see from all the other brands at Watches and Wonders in 2024. We'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, if you like this video, then make sure you like it and share it. If you want to see more videos every week about watches, then make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell as well so you know when the next video comes out. If you want to see more brand-specific content, then make sure you check out our playlists. But thank you for joining us on this quick video about our predictions for Watches and Wonders 2024.